Classic here, little Sierra double overhead cam, which is not enough for this customer. It's coming to us, and we're going to be taking this out in the next week. So we'll do a little bit of a blog on it so you can see how it is now. Over the next week, you're going to see this transform. Go with a nice little Honda S2000 engine in there, 2 litre, 240 brake horsepower standard gearbox running in it, etc. You'll see this conversion run over the next couple of weeks, leading up to sort of 3 or 4 week install maybe on this particular one. But we'll keep you updated, see the progress, see how we do it all. Nice car other than that. It's a 2018 car, pretty tidy, pretty clean. Just needed the extra horsepower really for this customer. A couple of weeks ago, we've done a video on this Sierra 2 litre double overhead cam engine we had in. Got to be doing a modification for the customer, putting a Honda S2000 engine in, and voila, at the back here, customers picked one up for a reasonable price. So that's going to be detailed and started in the next sort of week. We go through the engine first, new clutch, service it, etc. Get that ready, get the old engine out. Start fabbing up to make the engine mounts, etc. And that should be, say, progressing over the next sort of week or two. But love the Honda S2000. It's going to be standard installation box. I think we're going to be running Omex 710 on this as well. So we see a little bit of progress. It'd be good to, you can see how these engine conversions take place. It does take quite a bit of work, but it's great fun. And at the end of it, he's going to have an awesome car. And he's going to be a proper little toy to play with. So over here, we've got the double overhead cam engine we spoke about last week, where we had the Honda S2000 engine. Engine's now out. We took that out yesterday, and we're just starting to clear all the wiring out. The gearbox will then come out, bulkhead panel off, and then we'll start dummy fitting the engine in this. That will be started tomorrow. While Peter's doing this today, we were starting that tomorrow, and then trial fitting the engine in, making the engine mounts, etc. So that's the next phase on this particular build. The double overhead cam engine sitting here, all pulled out. Probably going to another car, this one. The customer's looking to sell that on, so if you're looking for a double overhead cam engine and a little cheap project, then for a kit car, then or an MK or whatever it is, then give us a shout and we can put you in touch and sort that out for you. Now, we've had a lot of emails actually asking about this, and a lot of phone calls saying, oh, how much, and you know, can you do mine, and etc. I think it's a cracking engine, the S2000. We've stripped this down. We're starting to get into that. New clutch is going to go, and we're going to start detailing the engine as well. It's a little bit of work today. We'll get that on the engine stand tomorrow, and we'll go through it all. We've got to move some supports. This valve, this will all come off. Rocker cover's going to be re-detailed, etc. So flywood's got to be sorted out, etc. I think it's been sitting in a bit of water. Rest of it's pretty good. It's alternator was stuck on it, so we've got to sort out the alternator. That's seized. So a few bits and bobs to do on that we'll detail it up for the customer and make that all right. So this is Indy Classic chassis. Now, when we make these for ourselves from scratch for customers, and we've done a few of these, this normally on the Indy R chassis, not on the Classic. Now you can see what we've had to do so far. Quite a few big holes cut out here. This is to enable us to get this bell housing in, and the engine mount set in, and the gearbox mount done. Pedal box has been removed. We're putting a new billet pedal box in this one for the customer as well. He wants that put into the OBP billet one that we was doing the upgrade on. That's going to be mounted into this section here. All these pedals cut out. But we have to reskin this from the inside because the clutch slave sits down here, the hydraulic. So it's quite involved. So somebody says, oh, you know, it's only a few hours. It's quite an involved process, unfortunately, to fit the S2000 engine in. The gearbox is very large. It's 55 kilos. It's a fair old weight. There's quite a bit of bell housing there that you've got to squeeze in there. The older Indy chassis is wider in the tunnel. The bike engine version, or on the newer versions, we do cut these back a little bit more on the Indy R chassis, so there's a bit more room in here to be able to enable you to get that bell housing in. So when you're starting out from this sort of process, it takes a bit more work to do. That's what we're trying to say. So all them emails and etc. Can it be fitted? Can it done? Yes, it can. Is it for the amateur build at home? Probably not. You might want to, you know, come and see somebody who might be able to help you work with that conversion. So week 47, as I said earlier, and over the last sort of week, from last Friday, I think we've done a video. We've been on with the S2000 engine. This has been fully steam cleaned now, ready in preparation. We'll start painting and detailing this. The rocker cover is going to go off and get dipped, and we'll start doing the block, the gearbox. That's been steam cleaned, ready, and there's some new clutches going on this. We've got a few bits in here that we've got a detail on it. We'll go to the car in a minute with the engine mounts and gearbox something's burning. But one thing we do is we've cleaned all the sump out. This is ready to have one of our baffle plates. You can buy these online, S2000 baffle plates, that gets welded, TIG welded into the base of here to stop and help oil surge. Generally, I think it's going to be used a road and track day car, so be more than sufficient for what this is. You don't really need a dry sump for a road and track day car. We run Toyota R888s on our sort of my own car, the demo car that we use, and it's fine. I had no problems with oil pressure over that time. So as we said last week, we was getting on with this engine mounts. We've mocked all this up in here, so we've just got to finish him off a bit more. But engine mounts, literally Dave's just finished welding those in, 2 engine mounts and a gearbox plate been welded into there, and then we'll start filling in the metal back on this week. So we only started back on this yesterday afternoon. Looking better, and we'll start again. You'll see the engine bay being detailed as we get through that. We've got another engine just around the corner here, which is just stripping. Over straight away to the Honda engine. We've started working on this again this week. Gearbox mounts done, engine mounts done. We started welding in some bracing bars. We've got bracing bars down to the engine mounts now. Cross brace we're starting to put into the front. We're adding some strength back into it's an Indy Classic, so it hasn't got quite as much triangulation as the RX5 and the Indy Rs, so we're putting a bit of triangulation back into that. So a bit more work to do still, and it's off and on all week with this one, as and when we get in between other jobs. So that's coming along quite nicely though. We're happy with the progress so far, and we see it evolve. I say the triangulation working out quite well. S2000 car. I think we spoke last week. Cradle's in, that's in. Basically the next job is exhaust system. I think we're not starting that till about next week, the exhaust system. We cut it all off, made all the plates ready for the OBP pedal box. That's got to go in. Everything else is done on this now, sort of fab wise. It's just exhaust system to go in. I mean, fabbed up. Pedal box, OBP floor mounted pedal box in, and just finish off the steering link bar. And then it's paint, detail, wire in. And that then, so that's not far away. Bracing's here, cross braced here. We've got 2 more bars to get down there, but we're going to do that once the exhaust system in, so we can work around that section there. Back on with the Honda car now, the Honda S2000 one. Dave's installed in here, putting the billet pedal box in here, which is tight as tight can be, because we had the curved tunnel part in this particular one on the Indy Classic chassis. We're going Omex on this, so all the management and loom's been ordered up on that. Prop shaft's been done, modified. It's a bit of a mess in here, but prop shaft's we showed you the other week, that's been modified, ready to go in. So we're just finishing the finished parts on this for the pedal box, manifold, just the last bits to button up. The engine comes out and inches in. So Dave's doing this today. Real tricky job, bit of a hard job to bolt in a pedal box afterwards. If you're looking to build cars, it's way easier to do this than cutting out everything and refabricating for bracketry and everything else, as Dave will probably shake his head and confirm. So you're on with that. We're back on with the project here because we was waiting for some parts and bits on that, and that's going to continue, and we'll show you the progress on that. Right, so over the S2000 bay, a couple of things that we've been doing on here. So we've got, now we've mounted, it's the 55 core standard alley rate. We do the 42, 55 or 70mm core rates. It's got the 55 on it here. 19 row oil cooler. We've made all the bracketry for that with a fan on the back as well. That's ready, fixed and welded in now. Extra bracing we've put in here now, on which has just got the final weld in there, been cut for the top and bottom one. We just got this bar to finish up in this corner, which we've done on both on this side. And the only reason we had to do it was delaying it because of the manifold. So the manifold's made as well now. The 4-inch, basically 4-inch 2-inch 1, as it's going to come out, 2-inch 1 coming out. We've got the rest of the link pipe to make, but the manifold's made for it there. Super tight clearance on the steering columns. We've had to readdress and redo some linkage changes here. It was very close, but we've got about 5mm clearance, so we're super happy with that. Pedal works last week is done as well, so that's all pretty much dry, mocked up, apart from we can't get in there to weld, so we've stitched them in. This engine now is going to come out well, today actually. I think it's the next job after we finish video, and we're going to have this engine out, paint the engine, detail it, because we've fitted all the clutch. That's done as well, so paint, detail, and then finish up these 2 footwells that we can't do while it's in, so to speak. So out today, paint, detail, start getting into the engine bay, etc. Then ECU, we're going with Omex on this, which you'll see next week. That lands on the doorstep. Plug and play affair, so we can really start motoring, because the prop shaft's already done and all of that. So now it's starting to fit and final finish on this rather than all the mock-up, because it's a tricky one in this engine bay. When we do them from scratch, it's way easier, but a lot to sort of plan in and out. So this worked out really well, because it's the Indy. The classic Indy is a much longer front end, whereas the Indy R, where we go the inboard, finishes about here, so you don't have as much room to get these radiators in, so you have a little bit of planning to do with your pipe work and everything else, because I've literally probably got about 5 mil, if that, between there and the nose cone, so a little bit of playing around. So that's good. That's where we're sort of at. There was other little bits and bobs during the week that we're doing. So we'll be moving on with the S2000 project as well. Engines here, as I said, we would be painting this. This is all in drying mode. We've done the gearbox as well. It's all been done, painted, ready. We've just got to do the rocker cover. We'll do that last actually, and then we're just modifying the sump. We do a sump baffle. If you pause for a second, I'll show you what we're going to be doing with that. So the S2000 sump, nothing wrong with them actually. If you use them on the road, you probably don't need it, but we make a baffle plate for the S2000. We'll bend this up, just these 2 little tabs to come up, and then we weld that into here, stitch weld it in here, and in about 5 or 6 locations. So that's a little job we just got to do on that, and that'll finish the engine. Clutch is already done on the gearbox. It's all painted, ready to go in. So that's the final bits for that to go into the chassis. And over on the chassis here, we finished the final painting. It's all painted up, etc., ready. Billet pedal box's final install was done in there, and then all the brake lines have been run. Rear brake lines, front brake lines have all been run. Customers now going for wheelwood, so we've got to whip them off and then put on some wheelwood 4 pots on the front. They've got the standard on there at the moment, but he wants to upgrade. So all final triangulation's been done. Plenty of strength in this now. Happy with that. So we're on with that. Will go in probably midweek now, once you've got to do some bits and drying and etc., and the welding of the baffle plate, and then we can drop that in, hopefully. A little bit behind on the ECU, we've been chasing up for that, and that can then start plug and play, plumbing, all the intercooler, everything mock-up wise has been done, so it should come together hopefully a bit quicker for us now. So that's where we're at with the S2000. So where are we? Engine's in. Last week wasn't in. We said we'd get it in midweek, fully painted, detailed. We've got a new alternator, new tensioner pulley on this one. The radiator's gone on, the oil cooler's gone on. We started on the plumbing. All the fuel lines are in, brake lines are in, and we're just pedal box finishing off. We've just done the clutch line this morning. We did that, and we're just doing a return that's going up to the header tank as well. Prop shafts in as well, so it's cracking along. All the engine mates finished. That's fine. So it's the final install of that. We put in the baffle plate, which we spoke about. The S2000 baffle plate's been welded in. New clutch. It's sort of kind of new drivetrain here, barring refurbishing the engine from the internals, which we're hoping it's a good engine because the customer supplied it. Everything else is good to go. But it's going to also now have a roll cage. We're getting rid of this single apex bar, and we're going to be cutting this. It means a bit of work because the whole back end has to come off. So we've got to have the rear tub and the rear wings and the fuel tank's got to come out, because we have to weld in the support plates on this and in the passenger and driver's footwell to put our cage. So you'll have a plate going into this section here. There's a small 70mm plate on both sections. Now, the good thing is, when you buy a new chassis from us, these are the earlier chassis that before we took over, all of those already come pre-welded in, so you don't have to go through this hassle. So if you're buying an RX-5 or a booster car and you're going with roll bar, then those plates will be on if you want to upgrade to a later date. As I think we've said this several times, but it's silly little things like that that will help you improve your car if you want to go on track as well. So the bit of progress on this one, all painted and detailed, and say new bits and bobs. Oh, new brakes as well. Wheelwood 4 pots on there as well, the power lights, a few bits to finish up on that. We've put plain discs on this as well, so it's solids, they're in as well. So a few bits and bobs done. Right, S2000, been playing around with this week as well. So we've done the mock-up for the, we just got making for a adapter here, but the air filter's gone in. We've got oil cooler sandwich plates in. We've got a remote oil cooler on this that we've mounted in, going to the oil cooler feeding up as well, to the 19-row oil cooler. That's been mounted. Clutch lines have been done. We've got all the ECU finally in. That's all installed and wired in. So we've got the Omix 630 series ECU on this, with a plug and play wiring loom on that as well. We've modified most of the coolant pipes are in now. Engine earth straps have gone in. We made the bulkhead panel for it. So yeah, we're back on with a few other bits that we had to do for electrics. We've been sorting out the rear electrics, ready to come up as well. Mate, it's little bits and bobs on this. It's taken its time, I suppose. Making brackets for everything as well. We're just waiting for the manifold to come back from final mock-up as well. So we're cracking along. I reckon this should be firing in the next week or so. We should be ready to fire up, but we're just trying to get all the little bits done. The customer came yesterday. A few other modifications required, steering column and things like that. We've got to put quick release steering wheel bottom on, and a few little bits and bobs that he wants to change on the vehicle. I think it happens all the time when projects evolve. They see other stuff with other cars that are in here, and sometimes they go, oh, I quite like that on mine. So a few little changes in the project as we go along, but happy with that. And then the rocker cover is going to be painted red now, not colour matched to the blue. Again, that's a change yesterday, but I quite like the red. Traditional Honda, looks fantastic. One other thing that Neil just pointed out, actually, because Neil's been doing the electrics on this, is check these things, guys. Silly little things, but you can see this has been rubbing on the tyre when suspension droop. We're putting LEDs in, changing it out for these, but you forget that when you put that in, how far that actually sinks in, and when it's dropping down with maybe 2 passengers in the car, it was actually hitting on the tyre and rubbing through the electrics. We wondered why we couldn't get the indicators to even work, and then we suddenly like, oh, actually it's because they're shredded. So it's silly little things, and I'm sure you do check your cars over, but it's just a little pointer and a little heads up for you. Right, so S2000, back on with that. More work done. I think we said to you, apologies for any banging, it's live in here. We've redone in wrinkle finish all the rocker cover, and this has all been done. I think absolutely killer now. The engine's looking very tidy. Throttle cable's been done, clutch fluid reservoir's been done this week. Niggly little jobs, we're getting into all the little niggly jobs on this now. But the main thing was getting all this tidied away, fuel lines redone, tapped up here to the top, and etc. as well. So we was hoping to get this started this week, but rocker cover it's this weather, it's so cold, everything's taking a little bit longer to dry and etc. So between coats and we're pretty much there now with it. So a few little bits to do, and then we're starting on with the main wiring harness. I think this week we're starting on with the main harness, but I think that's come out absolutely killer. I mean, customers in today thought it was almost like a brand new engine, and to be honest, it looks fantastic. I think done a super job. Customers very happy with that. So the S2000 project moving along again. We started on the main, let's call it accessories wiring for all your lights, switch gear and everything else. We started on that this week. And then if you scroll around, a Saturday job that we've been doing today, we started on progress with this, cutting in all the switches and the, if you can zoom in, the MK branded dials. These are in a chrome. We can change the finishes on these. We can do orange needles as well, brush finish or black on these bezels, but MK branded, standard aluminium Savage switches. These all light up, they will. And we've got obviously his gear knob on this for the S2000 gearbox. That's an M10 by 1.5 thread, so that's been tapped for that. So he's very branded with MK anywhere. Then we've got to go in, which is here. 2 of them are going behind the steering wheel on this particular car. We have the rev counter to match and a speedo as well, which very tidy. 80mm gauges. That's going to sit in one side and the other for those 2.
That's a 10,000 RPM as well.
Yeah, this one's made for the Honda, so we can bespoke him. That's a 10,000 RPM gauge. It's not your standard 7,000 because it's the S2000 revs to about 9. Can get up to 9 too, but let's say 9. So it's been adapted for that. Lovely. So yeah, on with that. We'll carry on. Fit that on. We've got to do the steering columns. We're putting a quick release boss on that. That should be finished this week as well, and we'll cut that in during the course of this week as well. So that'll be tidying that up as well. So Honda S2000. Again, been working on this week. Bit higher up because I've been working on wiring, so we put the stand under this to get it up. Neil's been doing all the wiring. We showed you the gauges last week, which seem to have set Instagram alight and the gear knob. They seem to like that. And now we have, which is the power on here, as it goes to the ignition. Boom. We have wired up all the instruments here. She does turn over, but we've got waiting for the exhaust manifold to finish. To come in because we're just fanning it out, but don't want to fire it out without that on. So that's all ready to go. She does start, but we're on with wiring, etc. Right over through the car. These little switches take a little bit of time to do, and instruments and that. So it's a work of art. Yeah, it looks great. I love the instruments, the classic instruments, and they've gone down an absolute storm, as I say. So really enjoy them. And the biggest thing, no roll hoop anymore. We got a big old fat cage on there. Look, so we just got to do some final welding to fit that in, but everything's been cut off. The rear end of the cars, as you can see, is gone, and we've put the 50mm cage in. We've just got to weld in the bolt-in plates or finish front and rear.
That's what we did with that.
So on this, the classic, we have to take the whole rear end off, and we have to weld in. We've got these plates here that we've cut up already. That's actually that side, so that sits in there. This will get welded into here, and then this bolts in, which we've already done, mocked up for it on both corners. And then in the front by the footwell, we have these plates that get welded in to the box section, and then we come through. We've got to do some modifying here and bolt through on the top. So it's quite a bit of work. Unfortunately, in the Indy Classic on the earlier cars, you have to take the rear end off because you want to be welding all this. So we've cleaned it all off, ground it all off ready, and we'll get that welded in. Your newer cars, it's already done for you. You want to buy a roll cage, you bolt it in yourself, so you don't have to go through this hassle, which is a bit of work. Unfortunately, a bit of labour involved as well. Great if you're handy with a spanners, you're handy with a welder, you can do it at home. But the newer cars, simple, bolt in, bolt out, which is what we like. We knew that from your response, what you wanted, so we did it.
That
so
RX-5 that we're going to do is
yeah, the RX-5, really easy. We'll bolt off the roll bar and we'll bolt in the roll cage, and she's ready to rock and roll. You know, it's an hour or so just to do that, nothing major. It's more about how long it takes you to tighten the bolts than anything else. So we spoke about the oil cooler brackets. This is what it looks like. So this is our standard radiator. This is actually a 55 core. We do these in 70s, 42s. It makes no difference on this. The bolt pattern is the same that we use, and this is one that we actually welded our one on rather than bend it. We've made it for you guys to bend, so that, you know, not everybody has aluminium welding at home. So it fixes on here, here, here and here, and as you can see, it sits down low, nice and strong. We've powder coated this one black, but you've got your 4 fixing holes. But if you've got slightly different, we can get these longer for you or shorter, but we kind of fit with our standard setup on our own radiator. So if you're adding an oil cooler on at some point because you're tracking a car, or you're trying to get troubles with your temperatures on the oil, etc., or you're going turbo, you may want to fit an oil cooler at some point. So that's kind of something that's available. $24.99. It's available on the. I think that'll be on the system today. Is it, Neil?
yeah, we'll try and get it on.
Try and get it today. If not, by tomorrow, definitely. And we've got those in stock as well as the boot covers. So we carry on. But there you go. Nice little product. Listen to your questions. Again, this is something you've asked about. We've tried to do it for you. Right, crack on. So here we are outside with the S2000 car. The project you've seen for the last couple of months now that's been running long, or a bit longer than a couple of months. Quite a bit of work done to this vehicle. As you see, the main conversion was putting in the Honda 2-litre F20C engine, stock about 240 horsepower. It's been modified, custom manifold, custom lead pipe, CPE one-off exhaust system, very nice, quiet, full cage, 50mm cage on here. The interior's very nice. We've got our branded MK gauges, all billet aluminium switches, gear knob, etc. John's interior in this one is something out of a Rover, we think, actually, a Rover 200 or something, so it actually looks quite clean and tidy. In there, he's got a 14-inch mirror in there, long acre style. We've got rear diffuser, a full LED light pack change because the other one standard H bulbs was catching the tyres actually. So that's how the rear diffuser looks, if most people do ask us that question. He's got simple LED now number plate lights rather than the big bulky one. He's got his 2-inch harnesses, and aftermarket wheels. Looks like a Millennium replica with the Nankang and SRs on it. Meant to be a pretty decent road tyre there actually as well. So standard rear brakes, and then when you come to the front, you're just about peeking through the front there. There you got the wheelwoods. It's been upgraded, solid discs on there as well. Protex all round. Engine bay's pretty clean. It's like a brand new car really now. Just the oil cap to put on in the second one of the check the fluid levels so it can get back to the customer. See, there it is, finally finished. Super killer car, drives really nice. One other thing was inside, we'll quickly show you if we can get down in the tunnel. There was a floor mounted OBP pedal box, really nice, and works well for feet positioning as well. So there we go, we give you the final shot, final look. Happy Easter guys, and keep safe.